Divorce Dad Diaries, day 282.
ADHD update. So last time we chatted about this, I mentioned that I had to go back for an appointment every 3 months to do a review of my medication. That was about 3 months ago. I was due for a review this January, specifically January the 7th. I did actually remember somehow, surprisingly, that I needed to do a review, and I booked an appointment and I had one coming up on the January the 12th. I knew I'd have enough medication to get through to then, just because I honestly just keep forgetting to take medication. Not all the time, but ADHD people, we struggle with routine and staying in routines and whatnot. So the 5 days a week that I'm working, I remember to take my medication. It's on the weekends that sometimes I forget, and it's usually just one day, so I'll only be having like 6 days a week on the medication. So January 12th rolls around, I'm working, doing my usual work stuff. After work, I'm sitting down with my daughter. We're continuing our flight around the world on Microsoft Flight Simulator. Of course, we set the plane up, and then I start to cook dinner, and I'm like, oh shit. Did you chop yourself?
No, I forgot my doctor's appointment.
As soon as I realised, I then went online and immediately tried to book another doctor's appointment. And the next one was 9 days away, on the 21st of January, on the same week that I would be getting my carpet redone. I did briefly mention in that video yesterday about how I had a doctor's appointment, but that video ended up being like 9 minutes and 54 seconds long, and there's a 10-minute timer on TikTok. I had to cut a lot of stuff out. Like the fact that I also took all the cupboard doors off. They're still sitting in my hallway. But I also knew I would not have enough medication to get through to then, so I made sure to save two. One for the Tuesday, one for the Wednesday, so that could, help motivate me to move furniture. And I tell you what, I went about 5 days without having the medication. Longest break I've had since I've been on it, and that was quite eye-opening for me. So every day on these days where I was not on medication, I was finishing up dinner and then I was so exhausted at the end of the day. Had no energy to do the dishes. I just wanted to go to bed. I would often go to bed at 9 o'clock, 9:30, and I was like, man, this is not normal. Definitely not normal. And then I had to kind of sit down and reflect, and I realized, no, that was normal. That was my normal for many, many years. Before I got diagnosed, before I got medicated, I would never do my dishes after cooking dinner. I was always too tired and I'd always go to bed. I'd always wanting to go to bed at 9 o'clock, 9:30. I've already adjusted to this new normal where in fact I do keep on top of my chores, and sometimes I do stay up till 10 o'clock, 10:30 at night. It's funny because I went through a period where I was like, I'm not even sure if they're doing anything, and I realised no, they definitely are. They're definitely helping. But there's one thing they certainly haven't cured me of, and that's my forgetfulness. I'd argue that's one of my worst traits. I straight up can't remember anything. Even my kids know at this point that Dad's a forgetful person. So on the day of my doctor's appointment, I made sure to set 3 alarms. They do text you to remind you, but apparently that's not enough. So I set a bunch of alarms, and then I left early. And of course, that was the day that I'd been moving furniture, and I was stressed about my car starting, and I got there, and they test your blood pressure and your heart rate. Now, fun story. Every time I've gone in there, my blood pressure's been about 100/60. I think that's how you say that. And when I was at my mum's place in Whangarei, we both tested our blood pressure. She's got a machine, and we were both 100/60. Her resting heart rate on no medication was somewhere around the low 90s, and mine was somewhere around the high 90s, which is actually quite high, but apparently that's just us, I guess. And when I got there to that doctor's appointment on the 21st of January, my heart rate was 114 beats per minute. So naturally, when I got into the appointment, he was like, yeah, we're going to need to keep an eye on that. I told him about what happened, and he said, oh, okay, so it's probably just a one-off then. And he could see historically, when I first came in unmedicated, my heart rate was 93 beats per minute. And then after the medication, it was at 99 or something like that. So for it to jump all the way up to 114 is clearly abnormal, and it was probably due to the stresses of the day, but we're going to have to keep an eye on that. I just have a really high heart rate, apparently. So to try and summarise, I have ADHD, I'm medicated, and the medication is helping, and I'm glad that it's helping. But I also wanted to give you a quick house update because I have reset my lounge and moved some of this stuff back already. In particular, I have made the bunks. I have not yet made the beds and put their toys back together. But honestly, all that stuff was clogging up my lounge, and what happened is that as soon as I finished work, I left my office and then realised if I wanted to play Xbox or watch a movie, I was going to have to go back into my office, and I was like, oh, I don't know what it is, but I know that ain't it. So I ended up resetting some of these rooms so I could reclaim my lounge space, my relaxation space. Cupboard doors are still in the hallway, but I have started on my oldest boy's room too, just so I could get more of that space back. But thanks for listening, and I will catch you on the flip side.